Okay, recently Mike Tyson did an interview with the Wall Street Journal and they asked his opinion on the upcoming fight between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao taking place May 2nd. ESPN's First Take, which features Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, offered their opinion on Mike Tyson's analysis of the fight, in which he basically laid down the blueprint for how Manny Pacquiao should fight Floyd Mayweather. And Mike Tyson basically said that Manny Pacquiao should apply consistent pressure to Floyd Mayweather. He should also move from side to side, attacking Floyd, attacking in angles, and he should feint Floyd, and pretty much by feinting, he'll be able to open up and force Floyd to throw more punches, which will leave him more open to receiving punches in return, which would obviously favor Manny Pacquiao. Mike Tyson also went on to say that he believes in this fight, Floyd will be busted up and hit a lot more than uh, how he's been hit or how he's been tested in previous fights. So this will be his biggest test. And he also went on to question Floyd Mayweather's toughness overall. So that was a lot to digest for Mike Tyson. It was a great analysis from his perspective, or in regards to him offering a good blueprint on how to beat Floyd Mayweather. Whether or not that is successful remains to be seen, and whether or not Manny Pacquiao is capable of effectively executing the game plan remains to be seen as well. We'll say that Manny Pacquiao is very fast with foot speed, hand speed, so attempting to pull off this game plan of applying consistent pressure is something that he can do. I think Mike Tyson did leave out a few things in regards to the game plan, because I think in order to apply consistent pressure on Floyd Mayweather, especially, you need to have a really good jab, which is something that Manny Pacquiao does not have. Aside from the really good jab, head movement I think is important, and the ability to actually cut the ring off is very important as well. Whether Manny can do that remains to be seen. I will say though that with Manny in regards to cutting the ring off, he struggled to do so against Shane Mosley when they fought, and this was Shane Mosley that was almost 40 years old and reportedly had a Achilles injury going into that fight. Manny Pacquiao also had some difficulty cutting the ring off when he fought Marco Antonio Barrera for a second time, and even showcased some difficulty cutting the ring off from Chris Algieri. And he really couldn't do the same against Juan Manuel Marquez. That was more in any other fights, and that was more so of a chess match, anyways. So, with that being said, and also actually, I forgot when Manny Pacquiao fought Timothy Bradley, he had difficulty in cutting the ring off in many aspects, and this is a Timothy Bradley who in both fights actually had injured feet. I believe he tore some ligaments in his ankle in the first fight, and then had an injured calf in the second fight. So I mean, whether Manny Pacquiao can effectively pursue and cut the ring off from a Floyd Mayweather who was in a different class than all those fighters mentioned remains to be seen. Another thing is with Manny, can he keep the pace up of consistently applying the pressure? Because he is getting older, as is Floyd, but it does take a lot of energy to apply consistent pressure, have head movement, go side to side, and land punches. We have to remember, I think it's fair to say, if he doesn't try to employ that strategy, I don't think Floyd's just gonna be backing up and not throwing anything in return. Floyd will probably give Manny Pacquiao angles. He will probably counterpunch with his right hand counters. even some check left hooks, because that was a punch that was effective for Chris Algieri, even though Chris Algieri was thoroughly dominated. But um, we can see, I can see Floyd, countering effectively against Manny, throwing his jab. He does have a 5-inch reach advantage, so we have to also put that into consideration. I think Manny will be best suited if he really jumps on Floyd early and throws caution to the wind, just because I think if he tries to fight a thinking man's fight with Floyd and tries to basically fight a chess match, I think he's going to get picked apart anyways. And I think his best chance is coming forth with aggression, caution to the wind, and hope to catch Floyd early and often before Floyd can really get Manny's rhythms and his timing down. Because Manny does have that herky-jerky motion, and his feints, like Tyson mentioned, can actually be very beneficial for him in the fight, especially early on. So that's going to be interesting to watch, to see what strategies come into play for both fighters and how they react to each other. And I will say that, as we watch Floyd throughout the years, he is a great fighter and he is a master at adjusting to what you do. We rarely see him get hit with the same punch more than once. So it'll be a great it'll be great watching these two fighters adjust off each other, and we'll see what strategy comes to the forefront and what strategy ultimately leads to whoever winning. Another thing I wanted to touch on in regards to Mike Tyson's quote was the fact that he questioned Floyd Mayweather's toughness, which I think is a ridiculous.